Now, I'm sure you've heard this phrase on YouTube over and over again. Story is king. And when you're making YouTube videos, it is. Story is absolutely king. You need to tell a story in your YouTube video. But how do you do that? I had a friend come to me the other day and she was really frustrated. She said, my videos aren't really going anywhere. I've got great ideas. I'm going to awesome events and doing nice cinematography and stuff, but nobody's watching my videos. And I keep hearing people say, I've got to be telling a great story, and you do, but no one ever really tells you how to turn this great idea or gimmick or event or whatever it is that you're doing into a story. So that's what I'm going to do in this video now. We're going to have a look at what makes a story, how you can take a great idea and turn it into something that's compelling and keeps people watching all the way through. And it's actually a lot easier than you might think. By the way, if you've got any questions or anything that you want answered or any clarifications, that's what the comments section is for down below. And while you're there, hit that subscribe and like button and share and all that kind of neat stuff too. Okay, so how do you tell a story on YouTube? Well, it's the same way you tell a story anywhere. And I've always thought that the best place to go is to look at the best stories that have ever been told. As Daryl Eves will tell you, that's going to be Star Wars. And George Lucas, I have to say, is an absolute master at storytelling. So have a look at any of the Star Wars movies. We'll look at Star Wars. It's broken down into 3 parts. So in Star Wars, you've got the stuff that's happening on Tatooine, then you've got the whole rescuing the princess from the Death Star, and finally you've got the battle with the Death Star and blowing it up and all that sort of thing. There's 3 main parts to that. You've got an introduction where you get to meet all the characters, you've got the meat of the story, and then you've got a conclusion. 3 acts. A beginning, a middle, and an end. That's the essence of a story. So, is it that easy? Well, it can be, but George Lucas takes it one step further, and so do a lot of other really great filmmakers. So let's have a look at the first part of Star Wars on Tatooine. That starts with the droids in the ship. They land on the planet, they hook up with Luke. Okay, that's the first part. Then the droids run away, and they hook up with Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's the middle part, and finally they go to Mos Eisley. They get together with Han Solo, they book the trip on the Millennium Falcon, and there you go. Now you've got 3 parts into that first act. You've got the first scene, which is introducing some characters, the second scene, which is introducing the rebellion and all that big story and everything, and then you've got the third part of that first act, which is them concluding the story on Tatooine, and it also creates a link between that and the next bit of the story, which is when they leave the planet and go and find the princess and rescue her from the Death Star. The second part does a similar sort of thing. You've got the finding the Death Star and that Alderaan's been blown up. You've got the whole adventure on the Death Star where they rescue the princess and have to break down the force field so that they can get away, break down the tractor beam, that is. And then there's the whole thing where they're actually getting away from the Death Star and finding the rebel base. And that links into the third act. So they've got these linkages. And you've got this constant turning of something happening which leads to the next thing, which leads to the next thing. This is a story. It progresses. You've got a beginning, middle, and an end. The beginning has a beginning, middle, and an end. And so does the middle bit and the third bit. And you've got this whole story of things starting, continuing, and concluding. And they also join up, so the conclusion of one thing is also the introduction to the next. Now, if you can do this in your videos, this is going to be great storytelling. Okay, let's get away from Star Wars and have a look at how this 3-act sequence thing works for a YouTube video. We'll pick on a cooking video. That's really easy. Everybody needs to eat. Fantastic audience, and there are plenty of these out there. Some of them are successful, some of them are not. Let's have a look and see why. Now, what you could do for a cooking video is pull the ingredients out the fridge and the cupboard, cook them, and serve it. That's 3 parts. You've got a beginning and a middle and an end. But that's really kind of not terribly exciting, and everybody does the same thing. So why don't you break this up and expand it into a bigger story? Now, you've got to plan the meal, then prepare the meal, and then present the meal. That's more exciting. So let's have a look at the planning of the meal. You sit down, you work out what you're going to make. That's the first part of the planning. You go out and buy some ingredients. Go around some shops, get some of the stuff. Show people where you live and what the markets are like, and get some fresh ingredients and why you pick particular things. And then you can bring that back and prepare the ingredients and show people what you got and how you're going to do it. Then you've got the second act, and this is actually cooking it. So let's chop the stuff up and prepare it. Say why you're doing it and teach people and give them some new exciting information, that they tell them something they don't know already. Then you're actually going to cook it. You've got the method that you're using when you're cooking it. You're using different materials. You might pull out some spices. You might have different tools in your kitchen. You might use the oven, a microwave. You might use a stovetop, a particular frying pan or something like that. And then when you're getting your meal cooked, you also want to delve into the presentation of it. So get some nice plates out, dress the meal up nicely, lay the stuff out, and dish it in an exciting way, and there's your meal dished and ready to present. And then take your meal out to a table, have some friends or family or something sitting there, and present the meal to them and get a reaction. So you're delivering the meal, you're presenting it to the people, and then you can get the reaction, and that's your conclusion. That's far more exciting than just pulling stuff out the fridge, putting it into a pan, and then plonking it onto a plate. So taking a little bit of care and planning these sorts of things out is something that's going to help you make a more exciting story. Expand your idea, look what happens before, and look what can happen after. You want your 3 acts. So you've got your beginning, your middle, and your end. In each of those acts you want 3 stories. You want your preparation, your shopping, and then presenting the food and talking a little bit about it. Then you've got your cooking, you're chopping the stuff up and preparing it, you're putting it into the pan and the pots and the oven and cooking it, then you're presenting it, and then you take it out to the table, you deliver it to people, you try it out, and you get some reactions, and then give a conclusion and wrap it all up. That's a much better video. Now, here's something you can do that will make it even better. The first 30 seconds of your video, make that a hook. Then you start your first act, 3 scenes. Then you start your second act, 3 scenes. And your third act, 3 scenes. And then in your last 25 seconds, you want to do a call to action. This is something that gets people to stick around and click on a subscribe button and watch a couple of other videos. This is what you want to put on your end screen at the end of your video. You've got 30 seconds for your end screen. Make sure you say subscribe here, watch this in the first 25 seconds, then fade that out to an end card with the hooks and stuff around it. You can do that. Have a look at several of my videos and see how I do the end screens. I'm finding that's really effective. So now you know the structure of a really good story. 3 acts, each with 3 scenes, a hook, and a call to action. That's going to make a fantastic YouTube video. So write down these 9 things that you've got in the middle. Now for each of those 9 things, make a list of shots that you need. So if you want to have a 9-minute video, then each of those acts is 3 minutes. So each scene is 1 minute on average. You might make the middle one longer and the 2 outer ones slightly shorter, but you've got, say, a minute to fill for each scene. So now if you want shots to be like 5 seconds long on average, then you're going to need 12 shots per minute. So you now know that you need 12 shots for each scene. So it's 36 for Act 1, 36 for Act 2, and 36 for Act 3. Act 2 you might make longer and squish the other ones down. That's fine, but this is sort of a rough guide. So make a list of all those shots you need. That's really easy. There's 100 and something shots that you're going to need. And now, when you're going out and filming this, you know that you need to get 4 seconds of that, 2 seconds of this, 5 seconds of that, and you can go and get these shots very efficiently. You're not going to go and shoot 5 minutes of something so that you can get 10 seconds out of it. You're going to go and shoot 5 seconds of it. This could be picking up something at the supermarket. It could be stirring into a pot. It could be dishing some rice onto a plate. So you know that you can shoot this now very efficiently because you can write down all the shots that you need in your video before you even pick up the camera. This is a fantastic way to make sure that you're not missing anything as well. Now, there are a lot of other elements that you need to make sure you get right in your video. You got to get your audio right. Maybe you need to work out some sort of lighting. Figure out what camera you're taking with you. Your cell phone is usually perfectly cool enough for doing the majority of this. Like I say to a lot of people, don't sweat the gear you've got. The camera that's in your pocket is the best one to use at the time. If you're in your studio space or you're in your kitchen, then you've got time to set up a better camera. If you're at the supermarket, just use your phone camera. Make sure the lighting's good, make sure you're using the correct position and framing, but then all you need to do is shoot a 5-second shot. So you don't need to stand there for ages at the supermarket trying to figure out what you're doing. You've made that list, remember? Now when you get back, you've got all of these very clean shots. You're not going to have to do a huge edit. So all of that time you may have spent listing out the shots you need, you're going to save in the edit that you're doing, because you've got exactly what you want. You can shoot it in sequence or out of sequence, that doesn't matter, but you've got all the shots you need and they're pretty much the length you need. Pro tip here is when you do get that 5-second shot, shoot 3 or 4 seconds either side of it as well, so that you've got a little bit of wriggle room in case you need to make something a little bit longer or a little bit shorter. So if you're going to do a 5-second pan, then just come a little bit wider and do a 7-second pan. I think you'll find that you get much better shots that way, and you're not going to cut yourself short in an edit. Well, you don't want to overshoot, you don't want to undershoot either, so just keep that in mind. So now that you know how to do this, I want you to pick a video that you shot 3 or 6 months or a year ago. I want you to go and write out this shot list, this 9 scenes over 3 acts and the hook and the call to action, and go out and shoot this, come back and edit and make a fantastic video and have a really good look and see what the difference in the response to it is. I reckon you're going to see the average view duration will go up really quickly. If you can get that average view duration up, then YouTube will give it to more people to watch, and you'll get more and more views and more watch time and more revenue. And at the end of the day, that's what we're all here for, is to try and turn this into something that we can just do full time. It's every YouTuber's dream. Anyway, I hope this has been useful. If it has, please do click down here and subscribe. Leave any comments and questions you've got down below. Don't forget to share and like it, and watch this video and this video as well, because they're also going to help you out, like this one hopefully does. Please do let me know how it works for you, and I'll see you in another video soon.